Black, melanin.
In Britain, so I feel quite happy living here in Britain. There are a lot of terrorists in the Middle East. Just look at Syria. Civilians are always targeted in Syria by all sides, by the Iranians, by Hezbollah, by the Syrian government, by the Turks, by the Russians. Yes, there's terrorism all around the Middle East. And do you know who the biggest victims of terrorism are? The Muslims. 99% of Muslims are killed by their fellow Muslims. It's sad. It's happening in Libya, it's happening in Chad, in Somalia, in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Iraq, in Lebanon, and other countries. Muslim killing Muslim. Sunni Muslim killing Shia. Shia Muslim killing Sunni. I feel sorry for the world of Islam. It used to be a great place, and it will be again. But at the moment, it's in a bit of a mess. But I'll tell you how the Muslim world can reform itself. All you need is democracy. You need an independent media telling people the truth. Equality for women with their involvement in running society at the highest levels, i.e. government. And the Muslim world could be like the West. Progressive, advanced, a place people want to live in. At the moment, the Muslim world is doing everything it can to get out of the Muslim world, to go live in America, or Britain, or Germany, or Sweden, or Australia, or Canada. Why is that? They should have nice countries to live in. It's because of really, really bad governments. The mostly aren't democracies, and those few that are don't have independent media. They got journalists put in prison. It's not good, not good. Israel, tell you what, go to the Middle East, visit Israel, and then visit the rest of the Middle East. It's like being on a different planet. But the Muslim world can be just like Israel, just like Europe, if they wanted to be. Why are there so many Muslims here in Britain, here at Speaker's Corner? Why do they want to get out of the Muslim world, risk their lives crossing the Mediterranean Sea, or do anything they can to go live in Europe? You should have nice, do you know, during the golden age of Islam, the Muslim world was the best place on the planet. Meanwhile, the Christian world was corrupt. It was living in the Dark Ages. The Bible was not allowed to be translated into the local language. It was only in Latin that only the politicians and priests could understand. And they abused it. And they didn't make progress in those countries. Sadly, 700 years ago, the Muslim leadership became corrupt. And they stopped making progress. Whereas in Christian Europe, they translated the Bible to the local languages and they started making progress. The Muslim world could catch up by those simple things: democracy, an independent media, women's rights, and they could be just like Europe, but warmer. Women's rights, we've got women's rights. You might not want to believe it, but we got women's rights in the West, and it was fought for very, very hard by women and a few men who supported them. And in Saudi Arabia, there are women who campaigned for women to be able to drive cars. And now, hallelujah, women in Saudi Arabia can drive cars. And in Iran, women are campaigning to be able to go to the cinema and to go watch football matches. And slowly they're improving. Slowly they're improving. Israel has had all these rights for decades. Thank you. So,
my granddad's older than Israel. My granddad's older.
That's right. If ever you'd read the Bible or the Quran or the Jewish Torah, you'd know why. It said that God would scatter the Jews around the world, but one day would bring them back. And God got it right. He kept his promise. The Jews have come back exactly as prophesied in the Jewish Torah, Christian Gospel, and Muslim Quran. Exactly the way he said it would happen. Now, it says in the Jewish Torah about the Jews, when you go to war against larger armies, I will be with you. So, in 1948, when 5 Arab armies attacked Israel, which side did God take?
No, America.
Which side did God take? Israel won. Exactly as one would expect if you knew the prophecies. In 1967, when 5 large Arab armies attacked Israel, which side did God take? Israel won that war as well. As anybody who's read the Bible, Quran or Torah would know.
Okay. Would you say you said
So one at a time.
You said God will give the nation of Israel for the whole Jews spread in the world, yeah? According to the Quran, there is a condition. Do you know the condition?
No, there's no condition, but
Really?
Muslims lie about the Quran like this man here.
You familiar-
I promise you in the Quran,
No
it
problem.
just says the children of Israel will return.
No.
No conditions.
I will. No, hold
And
on.
either God got it wrong or he's got it wrong. Who should we trust?
No problem.
God or that man
No
here?
problem. Let's read.
God
Let's read.
or that
Let's
man
read.
here?
Let's read.
There's a clue.
Baqarah,
The
chapter
prophecies came true. I would say that means God got it right and this man has got it wrong.
Hold on. Can I read?
Say the United States
I
is
read
a
it, I
beacon
read
of
it, I
peace
read
and
it.
democracy?
Pardon?
Would you say the United States is a beacon of peace and democracy in the world?
It's not the best example of peace and
no,
democracy,
it's the worst
but it's way better than any Muslim
We're
country.
not talking about Muslims, we're talking about, you mentioned Russians, all kinds of terrorist countries. You never mentioned the US. Is that on the list?
Okay, in the West, if you're looking for good examples, at the top I put Switzerland, Sweden, Norway, Australia, various other Western European countries. America is a bit lower down.
A bit.
It's a great country, I love America. I'm not surprised more people want to go live in America than anywhere else in the world. But it's not perfect, and you could spend your lifetime pointing out things that aren't perfect about
Way
it,
beyond
but it's
perfect.
still way better than any Muslim country. By a long, long way.
What is the most country that killed civilians and waged wars in the last 100 years?
I don't know.
It's not the Russians, it's the Americans.
Nah. What the
But it's
Americans
in the
have
West
done,
that it's a democracy,
they didn't
so-
start the wars. The Nazis started the Second World War, and thank God the Americans, unlike the Muslims, fought against Adolf Hitler
The Russians,
and defeated
the
him.
Russians
so
beat
I'm
the
really, really
Nazis.
glad.
The Russians
The
beat
Russians
the Nazis, not the
did a
Americans.
deal
The
with
Americans.
Adolf Hitler.
Not the Americans.
Then Adolf
The
Hitler
Russians, the
invaded
Russians.
The
Russia.
Russians
And
beat
what did the
Hitler,
Russians
wasn't
do?
the US.
The Russians invaded Eastern Europe and North Korea and took it by force. And thankfully, the Americans stood up to the Russians.
Thankfully,
and now
the Russians won the
Eastern
war.
Europe is democracy. Thanks to America, not thanks to Russia.
Finally changed.
And Philippines is democratic thanks to America. South Korea is democratic thanks to America. God bless America. It's not perfect, nevertheless, God bless America.
But they still shoot black
So, why is Israel so much more advanced than the Muslim world?
because of America.
Tiny little Israel has got more Nobel Prizes for science than the entire Muslim world put together. There's only 6.5 million Jews in Israel. There's 1.7 billion Muslims, and yet Israel's got more Nobel Prizes for science than the entire Muslim world put together. Why is that? I'll tell you something else. In the last 700 years, not one new invention has come out of the Muslim world. Not one. Not one. Pardon? I said in the last 700 years. He's talking about 1,000 years ago. I said in the last 700 years, up until the present, not one invention has come out of the Muslim world. Beforehand, during the golden age of Islam, then when the Muslims followed God, they were blessed. They made advances in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, science. Yes, that was great. But in the last 700 years, since the leadership of the Muslim world has gone astray, not one invention's come out of the Muslim world. Everything nice in life comes from the West. bicycles, motorbikes, cars, buses, trains, aeroplanes, satellites, vaccination, and people who want to defend themselves. Yes, we've got bombs to defend ourselves with. And do you know what? No two democratic countries have been to war with each other. That's good. That's good. Everything nice in life, phones, mobile phones, the internet, all invented outside the Muslim world. Do you know what it says in the Quran? All blessings and good things come from Allah. That means God. So why is Allah blessing the West, but the Muslim world's not getting blessed? In fact, if you look at the Middle East, it's the most backward, godforsaken place on the planet. I've been to Dubai recently, or recently-ish. I'll tell you what, fly to Dubai. You'll fly there on a Western-made aeroplane. You'll go in a Western-made bus or taxi to a Western hotel. You'll see shops full of Western-made goods. You'll see oil refineries made by the West, exporting in tankers made in the West. You'll see nothing done by the local Muslims. Yes, visit any Muslim wealthy country, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, nothing done by the locals, all done by Westerners. Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask you a question?
Go on.
Now it's just a wind-up version. You know when you said that the West are doing well, and the the Middle Eastern parts of the world are not doing well.
Yeah.
Do you know why that's happening?
Yes, I do, because I believe the Quran, even though I'm not a Muslim, I'm Jewish, I follow the Torah, but the Quran says all blessings and good things come from Allah. So if you're not getting blessings and good things, ask yourselves, why is Allah not blessing my country? Ask yourselves that. And I'll tell you why. You've got corrupt dictatorships, you haven't got a free press, women have a really low status. There's no reason for God to bless the Muslim world until it deserves it. Until it deserves it.
Do you know why?
Yes? What?
You're wrong, a bit wrong. Do you know why? Because
Why?
all the oil and gas are in the Middle East, or Libya or Iraq. And when those countries they wanted to sell their oil and gas outside of the dollar, the America has to destroy them because. I haven't finished.
So
I haven't finished.
why don't the Muslims
haven't
sort that out
finished.
problem?
I haven't
Do you know
finished.
the Muslims can't refine their own
haven't
oil?
finished.
They need Westerners to refine it. They need
haven't
Westerners to refine
finished.
it. It's made valuable because
I
of
haven't
Western
finished.
technology.
I haven't finished.
And you will blame everyone but yourselves.
finished.
You'll blame everyone but
I
yourselves.
haven't finished. Can I finish?
If you're quick,
Yeah, I'm quick. So when Gaddafi, for instance, he decided to sell his product.
your friend Gaddafi, yeah?
Yeah, my friend Gaddafi,
Yeah.
when he decided to sell his product outside the dollar, he's been destroyed. Saddam Hussein, same thing.
You're talking crap.
I'm talking
Libya
crap.
could
No,
not.
I'm not talking crap.
Libya,
This is the
there
truth.
were sanctions against
I'm
Libya.
not talking
There were
crap.
sanctions against Libya. Why were there sanctions against Libya? Because the way Gaddafi was abusing his own people
Really?
and supporting the IRA
Yeah, okay.
and funding
Fallacy
terrorism.
again. Do you know why?
And you guys couldn't refine or sell your
I
own
tell you,
oil.
this is a fallacy, yeah?
That's why. And you'll find excuses to make up for the fact you haven't educated your own
My
people.
friend, it's a fallacy. Do you know why it's a fallacy? Because before Gaddafi was destroyed, you would not see any Libyan immigrants in Europe. They were staying where? In
Why?
Libya.
Why?
Everything
And because they
was
weren't allowed
free,
to leave.
Free
They weren't
education,
allowed to leave.
Free
The
services,
Libyan people
no
had an
mortgage,
uprising against
free
Gaddafi.
water.
People like
Yeah,
him
yeah.
who hate the West
Yes,
supported
yes.
Gaddafi,
Yes.
but the Libyan people had an uprising against
Fallacy
Gaddafi.
again.
And I used to demonstrate with them outside the Libyan embassy. Well, Gaddafi's gone. All his prisons have been
And look
closed
at the
now.
mess it is now.
Hard luck.
Look at the
Yes.
mess it is.
And why
Where's
is that?
Cameron?
Because
What's his
Gaddafi
name?
did not allow democracy. He killed his opponents. He tortured them. He didn't pave the way for democracy. Because of that, it's a mess.
No,
And
no.
you'll blame everyone but
Because
yourselves.
Cameron fought and Sarkozy's fought is the
I'll
best.
say it
yeah?
again. all blessings and good things come from Allah, but people like him don't
Because
agree
you don't
with
know
that.
what is
They go
geopolitical, my
against
friend.
their Quran. They'll just look for excuses for their backwardness.
I like you because you're not a religious guy.
I am religious.
You are not religious. You don't look religious. Not very. Although you have that little stuff, I don't know.
Yes, that's right. I'm religious.
Yeah,
I wear this.
Yeah, but you're not.
Says so in the
Are
Torah.
you fanatically religious?
I'm not fanatically, no.
Okay, let's keep your religion to yourself.
Well, I don't know about that.
And talk
I
about-
have advantages of religion.
talk
I
about-
like to promote it.
don't talk about
There's a
anything
God.
apart from
Find out
justice.
about him.
Apart from justice and
Justice.
humanity. And don't talk about anything else.
Imposter.
Apart from justice
Yes,
and
we want
humanity.
justice.
And
We want back with land.
If you read the
We want back
Bible,
with land.
the Bible
Come on,
talks
give
about
us the doctor.
we are
justice.
fed up.
So, if you like
We are fed up
justice,
and
read the
tired.
Bible.
The demons.
But if you don't read the Bible, at least
to
be
do
a
with
good
Israelites.
person.
Israelite,
Excuse
Israelite
me,
is
if
the
you
people
bring
that
it
one
up,
people from the time
you're
of Abraham
bombing
to the
down
time when they
there.
come and enslave us.
Hello?
He's an imposter.
Man in the black hat.
21st century.
You make it hard for me to
21st
talk.
century. And we still see.
Why don't you move over a little bit? Why don't you move
Divide us,
over a little bit?
And nobody claim whatever
Do you
they
know,
say.
in the West,
Religion,
we have free speech and we don't try and stop someone speaking.
State of Israel.
People from other countries,
State of Israel,
other
where
cultures,
it's
come
not-
along
it's
and
not
try and stop
But
him
with the
speaking.
Palestinians,
So,
because
I
the
never get
Israeli
the Christians
and the
doing like
Palestinians,
this.
they are one
I don't
people,
get the
by way.
Buddhists doing this.
The true Jews.
I don't get Hindus doing this.
Really?
But people
Have you
from the
been to
Middle
Burma?
East come along
Burma?
and
And
try and
when
mess
it
up
is-
free
it's Burma,
speech.
That's where I come from.
Why don't you move away
please.
rather than try and make
I
harm
am
for
I'm
not
me?
not
fallacy.
here to portray
If
Israel.
you want
I am
to have a
not here
bad
to
society,
preach division.
act like
I am
him.
here to preach
Don't allow free
to come
speech.
together
Interrupt
and to
people when they're
live in
speaking.
and to live
Make it hard for them.
But this guy is not
And you
speaking
too
to
can
us.
end up in a backward third world country.
I am
You
not
can
against
end up
this
in a
guy.
backward third world
I am
country.
not against third world
You
thing.
don't see Europeans acting like this,
I am
do
not-
you?
I am
You
not
never see
against-
Europeans acting like
you're
this.
not European
Only the
if you
third
claim you are
world
Israeli.
acts like
If you
this.
claim you are
And that
Israeli,
is why
you're not
it is
European,
the
my
third
friend.
world.
How could you be
That's
European?
why it's the third
Israel is
world.
in the Middle East.
It's full of people like him
Israel.
with his
Israel.
mentality
Israel
who
is in
mess
the
up
Middle East.
free speech.
I look at you.
Do you know,
Israel is in the Middle East.
Speaker's Corner was set up by the government 150 years
I'm
ago
not against
for
you,
free
by the way.
speech
I'm
so we
just
could
telling you.
debate with each other.
Let's have a
Sadly,
Let's
you get
send
people
it
like
out.
him come along who don't want free
And
speech.
be peaceful.
They want to shut down free speech.
Yeah?
Sad,
Let's
isn't
change
it?
them.
Sad, isn't it? Oh, luckily I need water and throat sweet because of people like him. I have to raise my voice above them.
I just made my point. I am a peaceful, loving guy.
I know that word.
Yes? Don't tell me anything else. I am
Only tell you what you want to hear. That's exactly what I expect from you. You don't hear anything other than what you want to hear. And that's why you act the way you act. Fortunately, in the West, we discovered throat sweets, and I have a throat sweet.
Ask him how him get in Israel. He doesn't know. You a bunch of pagan coming out here.
No. You know,
Anyway,
Yo,
why is
you have a
Israel
Bible?
so much
Show
more
it to
advanced
this gentleman.
than the Middle
Isaiah
East countries?
yo,
Black
he's not ready for
I'll
that.
tell you
He's not
why.
ready for that.
Jews, they are not like
Democracy. They don't come against God's laws too much. They're not perfect.
Satan, I told you. I told you.
Equality
8 months
for
ago I
women.
told you about them. That's why we're
Equality
running
for
them
women.
out of this park. They ain't coming here to preach nothing about God. Because they must see it.
Israel
How can you take black
is
people
the
and
only
turn Jesus
country
white? And
in
Jesus
the
is the
Middle
blackest
East
man from the blackest
where
tribe of
when a
the
woman,
12 tribe of
Muslim
Israel.
woman gets
Even
married,
Mohammed have it right. Mohammed said
knows
black
her
and curly
husband
hair.
can't
At least
take
Mohammed
another
have tell
wife.
him color. But these pagan, these so-called
Ever in the Middle
fakers,
East,
Israel,
a man can
Israel,
have
they
up to
call themselves
4
Israel,
wives.
pirates.
because it says so in the Quran. But in Israel, one husband, one wife. That's good.
Oh, this is
In
wrong again.
Israel-
Why is wrong again?
When a Muslim woman gets married,
It's wrong.
she knows her husband is not allowed to beat her.
Can I ask you a question?
Because in Israel, wife beating is against the law. But in the rest of the Middle East, it's allowed because it's in the Quran. Because it's in the Quran.
Hold on. Can you ask us? Can I ask you a
Chapter
question?
4, verse 34 of the Quran if you can read.
The stupidity levels you have are all.
Can I ask you a question? Okay.
Go on.
You're saying this is good to have one wife, one woman, yeah? One wife, one husband, yeah? But do you follow the Torah, yeah? Do you follow the Torah, yeah?
Yes. What's your
Solomon,
point?
how many wives he had?
What's your point?
Solomon, how many wives he had?
If you need to go back in the past to a time when God spoke out against Solomon for having so many foreign wives and worshiping their gods, you better learn from it. You better learn from it. Now, in Israel, in Jewish countries, one husband, one wife. But you would try and stir things up to try and make a good situation look bad because your own situation is so bad.
Okay, so now you say, no, let's go back. You don't go back to the past. So in the past, what was wrong? Was he wrong? In the past, was he wrong?
Yeah.
Really? So Solomon or David declared as a prophet, they were wrong.
I'll answer that. Do you want to listen? Do you want to listen?
Yes, of course.
They started out great and they went bad and they were punished by God.
Really?
That's correct. That's correct.
You know why?
If you read the Bible, you know that.
Okay, do you know why? Do you know why it's wrong? Because if now they were punished by God, because he's all-knowing, he knows the future, he will never take this man as a prophet.
You're wrong.
They were wrong.
You're
in
wrong.
The future.
You can
That's
criticize
what's
God.
wrong.
You can criticize God if you like.
Yes, I can.
I bet you're
The
not
God in the
educated
Bible,
enough to have read the Bible. If you read the Bible, you know exactly what it was because God said what the situation was.
You know what? The God in the Bible is not unknowing. He's unjust. Because if
In
you...
your opinion.
No, I'm not.
In your opinion.
I'm not.
Anyway.
I'm music logical.
Israel is great. The Muslim countries around aren't. Rather than improve their countries, they make excuses for how backward they are.
No, you know, you have to understand something. God will...
I do.
God...
That's why I'm not to leave my country like you have to come to a nice country.
I
You come
live here.
from France.
Where did you come
Where were you
from?
before
Where
France?
did you come
Yeah,
from?
France.
Muslim before France.
No, I'm French. I was
Yes.
born.
What about your heritage, your parents?
They were born in
How about
France.
your heritage?
They were France.
How about your Khazari?
What about your heritage as well? Yeah?
Shameless.
Jews are
These
spread
are
all around the
inconsistent.
world, as God said.
This guy is inconsistent.
God said the
Jews are
whole
spread
world.
all around the world,
Yeah.
as God said.
You are an
And they've come
imposter.
back.
You
And
are-
that's good.
Come back
God
where?
got his prophecies
Come back
right,
to be killed.
and you've got it wrong.
Come back to be wiped out.
Try reading the Bible and you know you're wrong. Anyway, Israel's there to stay. It says so in the Bible. Simple, eh? I trust God. I trust his Bible and his Quran and the Christian Gospels. They all say the same thing regarding the Jews. They'd be spread around the world, they'd come back, and they won't be kicked out again. Who is stronger, God or Hamas? Who's stronger, God or Hamas plus Hezbollah? Who's stronger, God or Hamas, Hezbollah and ISIS? Who's stronger, God or Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, any other group you come up with? No, you're miserable failures because you're going against God, whether you call him Allah in the Quran or God. You're trying to go against his prophecies and you're failing miserably. The Muslims in the Middle East, with bad governments and bad terrorist groups, they've been attacking Jews, they've been attacking Christians, they've been attacking Yazidis, and now God's got you killing each other. Sunni Muslims killing Shia Muslims, Shia Muslims killing Sunni Muslims. Did you know the Quran says, do not set up sects of Islam? What have you done? You've set up sects of Islam.
What's your point?
You're going against your Quran, you're being punished. Return to the Quran and God will bless you. God, Allah wants to bless you, wants to bless everyone. But you've got to deserve his blessings. Israel is massively blessed. Israel has got more Nobel Prize for Science than the entire Muslim world put together. What? Since God brought us back 71 years ago.
71. That's a country. 71 years ago.
We were there 2,000 years. We were there 2,000 years before that.
That's the point. 2,000 years, it wasn't this day.
That's right. If you'd read your Quran, and I very rarely meet Muslims educated enough to read their own Quran, let alone the Jewish Torah, you know that God spread the Jews around the world and said they would come back. So educated Westerners, we're not surprised the Jews have gone back, but you guys, you just don't get it, do you? Do you know, ignorance is free. Just don't read anything. And you can live in blissful ignorance. Yeah. Pardon? I said pardon? I don't know, I couldn't care less.
You said a minute ago, if you read your Quran, so like you know the Quran, and I'm asking you a simple question, what is the 50th?
He thinks I've memorised every verse in the Quran. Very, very funny. Very, very funny. Very, very funny. Anyway, in the Quran, tell you what, I can read it out to you. I very rarely meet a Muslim who's read this bit. I can read it to you. This is the words of Allah spoken to Moses. This is what it says. And we said to the children of Israel after him, dwell in the land. Then, when the final and last promise comes near, we shall bring you all together as a mixed crowd, adding in brackets for clarification, gathered out of various nations. I occasionally meet Muslims who trust their Quran, but the most of you don't. You joke about it.
Right, so Jesus says God, but in Jeremiah...
No, I did not say Jesus was God. You said that. I didn't even mention him.
Do you believe in Jesus?
I expect he existed. What's that got to do with it? What's that got to do with it? Make it pertinent to my subject, because people try to change the subject. So God said in all three holy books, the Jews would return. He spoke through the prophets. What?
Which religion do you follow?
I follow Judaism.
And then have you studied Quran under the scholars?
I've read the Quran several times.
No, listen. Do you believe in the education system?
He was talking at the same time. Can you say it
Do
again?
you believe in the education system?
Of course I believe in education.
Okay, would you send your child to the school and just they give him a book with no teacher and say, okay, go and read the book, end of the year comes, and then they say, have you read it? Yeah, I've read it. Now you can go to the next year.
I can see the point you're getting at. I can see the point you're getting at. I can see the point you're getting at. I can respond to this man here and show you why the Muslim world's a mess. In the Quran, God bless it, it says the Quran is written in clear verses. Another part says it's written in a simple way. Why? Because God knew that with the Christians and Jews, people put themselves as leaders and twisted it. So in the Quran, read it. You don't need a teacher. Allah read it clearly. Sadly, all around the world, there are Muslims saying, oh, the Quran means this. That's why the Muslim world's a total bloody mess. Excuse my word, my language. It says it is made in clear verses.
Now that is your conclusion.
No, it says in the Quran, it is written in clear verses. And Muslims say, oh, the Quran says that, but really it means something else.
You've been
And
cursed.
that's why the Muslim world's a mess, because it's people who say, you need me to tell you what the Quran is.
I'm talking about the Bible.
Read the Quran. Don't let a teacher twist the message of the Quran. Read the Quran and believe it as it says it is.
How do you read the Torah? Do you
I
read the
told
Torah?
you twice, you didn't listen. If I told you third time,
No, you didn't talk about the Torah. Do you read the Torah or you read the Talmud?
I'll answer you again. I read the Quran. When it said it's made in clear verses,
Do you read the
I
Torah?
believed it. But you guys don't. You say you need a teacher
Listen, my
to
brother.
tell you what it means.
Do you
God
read the
is your
Torah?
teacher.
Do you read the Torah?
Read his Quran.
Do you read the Torah?
You don't know Shakespeare? Shakespeare?
Do you read the Torah on your own or with any rabbi?
Look, if you're not going to make any sense, there's no point trying to talk in you.
They think
I'm going to say it one more time. Anyone who doesn't trust the Quran is reading clear verses. Won't get blessings from Allah. You'll get some twisted, deviant imam say Quran says that, but it really means this, and you'll end up like a
I'm asking you a very simple question. If I want to become a Jew,
Trust the Quran.
no.
Or go astray. Up to you.
If I want to become a Jew, do I need to read the Torah on my own, or do I need any rabbi to teach me that?
You can read it on your own if you're intelligent.
And if I'm not?
Hard luck.
No, if I'm not. Not everyone is intelligent.
No, everyone's got enough intelligence to be able to read.
So do you think that only intelligent people they go to heaven? What about if I'm not intelligent?
No, I don't. Only you say stupid thing like that.
No, look. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to be rude because then you show your
Putting silly
religion.
words in my mouth. It's about intelligent people go to heaven.
Do you know the Quran?
Do you know, I'll tell you what it says in the Jewish Torah. It says, if you seek God with all your heart, you'll find him. And the same thing is there for the Muslims. But do they bother? Why is the Muslim world, why are they killing each other? Why is one set of imams in the Shia world say don't kill the Sunnis, and imams in the Sunni world go kill the Shia Muslims? If you read your Quran, you know it says, do not set up sects of Islam. But what have they done in their wisdom? They've set up sects of Islam. And God's got you killing each other. Return to the Quran. Return to the Quran. Trust the word of God. Or follow your imam. Those are the two options. Follow the word of Allah or follow your imam.
They both do the same. They both do the same. I don't know where you're getting your information from, but they both do the same.
They both, why are they killing each other? All around the Muslim world, where you got Sunnis and Shia in the same country, they're killing each other.
The Jews don't have sex.
Not to mention, they're killing Westerners. They're stabbing our policemen on London Bridge. Do you know,
You don't know nothing,
they're
mate. You
killing
talk shit.
children in pop concerts in Manchester. The Quran says, do not exceed the limits of war. Muhammad said, do not kill women, children and old men. But there are imams who justified bombing a children's pop concert in Manchester because they've gone against their Quran. They're following their own way instead of following the very simple book, the Quran. All around the Europe, we have to go through airport security because of suicide bombers. Not Buddhists, not Hindus, Muslim suicide. Take away everything from your
Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
Christians believe in.
Listen.
Is that one God, Jesus, yes or no?
Is the one God Jesus?
Yeah, yes or no?
Man, don't listen to BBC.
No, it's not Jesus.
Well, did you just say
Not Jesus on his own.
Okay. Is there one